Welcome to this tier list of the characters from Shining Force 3, Scenario 1. To build this list, I tried to take into account as many factors as possible. The most obvious, of course, in-game stats, but it's also interesting to dig deeper into game mechanics and look at things like special attacks damage, friendship bonuses, or weapons properties. Also, to keep things fair, we promote every character at level 10, and no stat-boosting items were used. All clips were recorded on insane difficulty, where strategy is actually required to assess a character's true value. Let's start with our hero, Synbios, rocking that classic 90s RPG protagonist haircut. He uses swords for close combat and knives for ranged attacks. Knives are particularly weak, and neither weapon has any special properties, but he gains a lot of stats during the early levels, and starts carrying the team by end of Chapter 1. He can use spark magic for great AoE damage, but you can enjoy the flashy effects of this spell once, not twice because of his low MP pool. He has great stats, decent magic, but his weapons don't come with element properties or good special attacks. More important, he gives an attack bonus to the whole squad. He deserves his place into S tier thanks to that. Not because he looks the best, but because he makes others look good. Such a great leader. Let's move on to Dantares, our hero's right-hand man, with 4 legs to charge across the battlefield and 2 arms to impale enemies. He loves galloping after thieves to pick up whatever drops from their pockets when he shakes them up a little bit. As our hero's best friend, he always benefits from Synbios' attack bonus and can hit really hard. Unfortunately, by the end of the game, his stats are a bit low for a frontliner. He just gets one-shotted over and over again by the endgame X-wielders and some local birds. His special attacks are good but not great, and the same goes for the friendship bonus he gives. He is a solid B-tier character that we all love having on our team. Masqurin is our red-haired mage. She loves burning enemies. At first, she blazes them one by one, then moves on to roasting them in groups. She eventually learns Spark, an even more powerful spell. She has the power to burn or electrocute the entire battlefield all by herself. To give the rest of the team a chance to shine, I gave her the magic wand, turning her into a walking sleeping pill, just as effective. And if you're worried she might be a bit fragile, don't be. She gets an absurd defense bonus, thanks to her friendship bond with Obright and wand bonus defense. She's the best damage dealer and one of the best tanks on the team with some really nice spell damage bonuses. Of course, we put her in S tier. Grace, our healer. Though more discreet than Masqurin, she is a bit as remarkable. She heals and heals during the whole game. Thanks to the slightly janky healer XP system, she gets promoted before anyone else and gets the aura spell early. She can now heal everything from scrapes and concussions to pierced organs, all in an area of effect. By the end of the game, with all the magic bonuses, her level 1 heals are more effective than 8 hours of surgery. She doesn't have great stats, but she's always 10 levels above the rest of the team, so most of the time she ends up with better stats than the others anyway. Aura level 4 is the most overpowered healing spell of all RPG. Of course, she is S tier. We couldn't get through a single battle without Grace. Hayward, an archer from Saraban that we rescued during the second battle of the game. He's a mobile anti-air cannon built to annihilate any enemy whose feet don't touch the ground. He gets one-shotted easily, but he one-shots too, and that's exactly why we love him. Hayward is a strong unit, especially with late-game bows. His high stats and ability to use different bow types for various enemies make him useful in a lot of battles. But I know his stats growth are a bit luck dependent. I got lucky this run. He is perfectly suited for A tier. Obright, our gruff sweetheart, who helps us escape from Balsamo after we've triggered the first of many traps. He wields axes, either to smash enemies or chuck at them from a distance. Despite having solid stats, his special attacks are rarer and weaker than those of other weapons. This makes him a bit forgettable in the heat of battle. Honestly, it's often more useful to turn him into a mage with the Heat Axe, or a healer with the Gaia Axe. His greatest strength is the defense boost he provides to nearby allies, absolutely vital for surviving on insane mode. So he's a solid B tier, but mostly for his support role. I'm not really sure what he actually did during this run. We meet Irene while trying to travel by train, using her monk techniques to dodge the fare. Among fellow train fraudsters, we team up to take down some vile bandits, and she decides to join us. She starts off punching a bit weak, but she is a good secondary healer. Later on, she learns devastating special attacks, so even though her basic attacks might be a bit underwhelming, her strong special moves more than make up for it. By the end of the game, she's an excellent frontline unit. She has really high HP and defense, and she has no weapon weaknesses. Plus, she can buff allies' magic resist with her spell and her friendship. She definitely deserves a spot in A tier. Julian, a mercenary from the distant city of Henry, is also into train fraud. He shows us the nearest switching point to sneak onto the train for free. He fights with blades and knives, doesn't hit all that hard, and dreams of challenging the legendary Vandals. Which is kinda bold, given he's already having a hard time with the local wildlife. Unsurprisingly, the Vandal of Quolis gives him a rough time. Thankfully, the local priest patches him up, just in time for him to meet Imperial generals and confront his sworn enemy, Kahn. Unfortunately, Kahn throws him into the rapids, forcing him to leave the team, much to Masquerin's dismay. For now, he's a B tier. He took too many hits and didn't hit hard enough. But his time to shine will come. Cybel is a centaur who fled from General Varlant during one of his breakdowns. She's basically Dantares with a halberd. She hits hard against the many sword-wielding enemies, and the two share a common passion for messing with ruin looters. In this run, Cybel was essentially Dantares with slightly better stats and a character design I personally prefer. Their specials look somewhat similar, but Cybel gets the edge with a stronger endgame weapon. The Arc Halberd and her level 3 Spark remain incredibly useful for clearing the battlefield. Cybel earned an A tier in my playthrough, but her shared strengths and weaknesses with Dantares, along with her more inconsistent stat growth, probably make her a solid B tier overall. Eldar shows up on the train that's supposed to take us back to the Republic, warning us that we're heading straight into our third trap in 24 hours. Sadly, her idea of helping is dealing 1 damage to every enemy we'll face for the next 10 battles, and getting one shot by anything that breathes. I ended up resorting to some obscure tech, giving her a cursed sword and the Ibiru ring so she could actually cut down a few enemies. It works, as long as she's not too busy wrestling with her inner demons. Her endgame stats aren't great, her evade support isn't much better, and her special attacks are pretty underwhelming. Despite the cool character design and the ability to fly, the effort required to level her up was just too much. She's firmly in C tier. Kahn is another monk. He dreams of saving the world by healing his allies and punching his enemies. He starts off by rescuing the village of Quonis. While he's a bit weak early on, he quickly learns strong special attacks, as all fist weapon users do. He can boost the team's defense with support magic and lower the enemy's defense with slow. Combined with his high stats, this makes him a frontliner you'll rely on in every battle. He can gain more stats than any other character, so his overall growth surpasses Irene's, though he heals a bit less. There's no doubt he firmly belongs in A tier, but the lack of ranged attacks and meaningful friendship bonuses keeps him out of S tier, in my opinion. Upon joining us, Noon offers the promise of a vast repertoire of magical techniques. So we're a bit disappointed when it turns out he only knows one spell, Freeze level 1. And he never gets tired of warning his enemies that he's about to cast it.
I'll bear my Arctic blast. Bear my Arctic blast. Bear my Arctic blast. Bear my Arctic blast.
He eventually learns Spark, but it never goes beyond level 2, and he gets no bonus damage from lightning element spells, which makes him weaker than Masqurin overall. That said, he's still a mage, so like all mages, he somehow has more armor than our warriors. I'd say he deserves a spot in A tier, but I don't want to put him in S tier because of that low spark damage. Justin is our third centaur. At this rate, we might as well open a stable. He's got all the charisma of a damp sponge, and even when his ex-general tried to throw us into the rapids, he just kept casually birdwatching. He uses crossbows, arguably the worst weapon type for archers, and quickly gets bogged down in the sand, where he ends up being eaten by stray dogs. Surprisingly, if you take the time to teach him how to use a short bow, you'll find that his endgame stats are generally better than Hayward's. But it takes a lot of effort, and frankly, he just doesn't feel worth the investment. He deserves B tier for decent stats. Too bad he favors a bad weapon class in this game. Horst is a local mercenary from Aspia who fights with a mace. We quickly find a solid Mithro one for him. Mace specials are noticeably stronger than axe skills, and often come with interesting effects. With better stats than Obright, he consistently performs better than him in combat. But Horst joins the team later and ends up providing fewer defense boosts to allies. On top of that, his low HP makes him too fragile for the front line, which is supposed to be his role. Still, Horst often has both the highest attack and best defense stats on the team, which means there's no way he can rank below B tier. Penn is our team mascot. Born from an egg we bought off some vagabond gypsies and hatched by a chicken we hijacked on a train. Now he's out to save his fellow penguins from the clutches of Bosom. He starts at level 1, unpromoted, and even if you generously babysit him all the way up, his stats stay embarrassingly bad. It's tragic, really such a unique character design, only to end up with the same attack stat as Grace, minus the healing spells. The one fun thing about him is his Penn Dynamo special, which is actually pretty strong. He's the sole resident of D tier, because unfortunately he's completely useless, unless you pump him full of every buff item in the game. Ratchet is a sort of steampunk Ewok with a love for brawling. He joins the team wielding a heavy anchor, a very weak weapon. Thankfully, if you buy him a heavy longbow, he'll gain some attack power and level up quickly. From there, he becomes a slightly weaker anti-air battery than Hayward, but with some unique strengths. His two special attacks, Armor Shot and Explode, have the through effect and ignore 70% of enemy defense, making them the two best special attacks in the game, especially in the late stages. On top of that, he's the only unit besides Synbios who can boost allies' attack stats. Sure, he lacks HPs and is a bit slow, but thanks to his charming character design, unique abilities, and surprisingly good defense, I believe he deserves A tier. Endgame, he hits just as hard as Hayward, gives better buffs to the team, and can tank more hits than him. Frank joins us if we push him into our camp at Flagard. We can give him a mithril claw with the holy property previously bought in storage. Instantly, he starts slicing through every single Bosom disciple one by one, so of course we fall in love with him right away. He can equip the Tiger Claw to tear through beasts, or go full rampage mode with the Berserk Claw. One thing's for sure, his critical hit hard. Just like Kahn and Irene, he's a fantastic frontline unit, treating us to some truly impressive special attacks. His stats are great, but he lacks magic, ranged options, and any meaningful friendship support. He fits perfectly in A tier. Hagane has been disguised as a pillar for a few moons when we find him. It's a ninja thing. Don't try to make sense of it. He masters the best crowd control magic in game and basically takes over as our walking sedative. He puts even our most terrifying enemies straight to bed. Beside his excellent magic kit, He can wield both katanas and shurikens. Equipping the shuriken is great to avoid being weak versus spears, or to take down flying enemies. His stats are good, and his special attacks look great as they inflict some neat status effects. No doubt about it, Hagane is solid A tier. Murasame single-handedly pulls us out of 3 of Bozome Sect's not-so-impressive traps. After the 3rd save, he decides to show off, but really, he shouldn't. Even though he shares the same advantages as his fellow ninjas, he can't survive long in battle. Even if he survives an attack, his spells just don't have the same impact in battle than Hagane's. Despite his story relevance, I think he fills the C tier requirements. Fynnding shows up before the last battle. He's a bird with lower stats than Eldar, but at least he's not behind on weapon levels. He has an instant kill special, which can help during the last battle. After leading the 2nd Battalion to victory, he's super enthusiastic and not all that concerned about unleashing a full-scale barrage on Aspia. Sadly for him, a 5th sword user with weak stats and 0 ranged options isn't exactly what the team's missing. He'll find good company down in C tier with Eldar and Murasame. And that wraps up the tier list. You might still shift a few spots around, best on the left, worst on the right, but the core's all there. Hopefully you picked up some Shining Force trivia along the way, cause I sure did while crawling through the forums to put this together. Thanks for watching.